What is going on, movie fans, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all my movie review of the brand new fantasy drama by the name of All of Us Strangers. Now this is loosely based on a 1987 novel that was named Strangers. Before I give you all my spoiler-free review and let you know if this is worth checking out, let's start the conversation in the comments section. Let me know if this is a film that you all were excited to check out, but more importantly, once you've seen it, let me know your thoughts on the direction, the writing, the story, the performances, what worked, what didn't work, but also let me know what you all thought about that ending. Let's have all those conversations in the comments below. Now, starting off with my positives, I want to talk about the writer and director Andrew Haigh, who this is my first time experiencing one of his films, and after now watching this movie, I gotta say, I was left very impressed by his approach to all the human interactions and the personal relationships that we have within this film. As the writer, he's tackling themes such as love and kindness, as well as understanding, but also showcasing loneliness and desire so well within this narrative. He places you in this world which is very surreal, but yet it feels so grounded and beautiful, and it feels like you're almost in a dream, but also a nightmare all at the same time, as he captures the essence of self-love and self-reflection in such a deep and profound way. Now, pairing that with some incredible performances, which we'll talk about here in a second, but I want to touch a little bit on the story. Now, I went into this completely blind, as I do with a lot of these independent films. I just knew who was in the film and who made the film, but I knew nothing about the plot, no trailer, no synopsis, so I'm going to kind of tiptoe around the plot here, which basically follows a screenwriter who is drawn back to his childhood home as he enters into a new relationship with a mysterious neighbor. Now, our main character discovers that his parents appear to be living just as they were on the day that they died 30 years before. Now, I'm not going to go into the why or the how are his parents still alive type of plot, but it's within those scenes that you really get into some of the most emotionally draining but also satisfying moments within this movie. As it unfolds, we see our main character getting the chance to speak to his parents as he's an adult now, and he tells them about who he's become, his career, and also his sexual lifestyle, which leads us into the relationship that he has with Paul's character, which gets some of the most purest forms of intimacy and happiness, but it comes with a twist. So the story definitely kept me engaged and compelled because it's almost a supernatural nature to this ghost story mixed in with this love story within the center of this movie. But the performances in this film are quite special. Both Claire Foy and Jamie Bell are really great. Now, they portray the parents, and the film never makes them unnatural or feel disattached to some levels of realism, as they both have moments together to interact and separately with their son. I personally really enjoyed the relationship between our main character and his parents, but in particularly the conversations and the scenes shared between Claire Foy and Andrew Scott were beautiful, especially this moment when he kind of tells his mom that he's gay, he's openly gay, and how that kind of affected his life in some moments and might be contribute to some of the loneliness that he's experiencing in this film. But collectively, there are some really great scenes between the parent and the son, in particularly one scene that involves a bed, and it's just heart-wrenching. It's so great. It's emotionally heartwarming, but then later on, we get this moment that's absolutely heartbreaking at the same time. But then we see this newly discovered relationship between Paul Mescal's character and Andrew Scott, which provided some of the most intimate and vulnerable scenes, as they both detail their families growing up and how lonely they feel in this high rise, and how they come together was just so beautiful. Now, to me, Paul Mescal, after his big breakout in last year's After Sun, he's become somewhat a specialist in heartbreaking characters and does such a great job in a supporting role. But Andrew Scott is the MVP. He is truly exceptional in this movie. His character could be challenging at first, but Scott has this very delicate and charismatic approach to his character that was just so powerful. It's honestly kind of difficult to put in words the beautiful and powerful and poignant performance that we have from Andrew Scott, who I've been a fan of for a while. I really do, fingers crossed, hope that he gets the Oscar recognition that he deserves, because he definitely gives one of the best performances you'll see all year. And as far as the actual filmmaking goes, it was superb. This is beautifully shot. It has some great atmospheric moments, and the soundtrack and the score are perfectly paired together quite well. It is undeniably very thought-provoking. It's a unique journey through a character's emotional scars and queer experience and their personal loneliness that really sits with you. And in my case, It's been a few days since I've seen this film, but yet it's still on my mind. I'm still thinking about it because it has so many things to really dive deep into. This film definitely deserves multiple viewings because it is such a kind of behemoth of a concept, but also there's so much nuance going on. Now, the film doesn't come without its flaws. Starting off with some of my nitpicks, there are some moments where it's almost too quiet and methodical in its approach to its storytelling, especially at the beginning. Like, I felt a little bit sleepy while it opens. Number one, the screening was early in the morning, but it's a slow burn. It takes a little bit before you really kind of dive into the concept. So again, not a big thing, just a little bit of a nitpick, but some of my major issues kind of boils down to two things really. One being the ending and also the bridging of the two stories without getting into details. Starting off with talking about a little bit of how I felt about how the film approaches how is our character interacting with his parents was a very interesting concept. But then I thought, okay, I'm thinking to myself, I can see where the story's headed, and this is regarding the relationship, that's the newfound relationship in the film. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I know where it's going. But then as things unfold, I'm like, oh, they're not going to go that route. But then they do something in the film like, okay, I expected it, but I don't necessarily like how they wrap up a particular plot. In saying that, I feel like it was a little bit jarring at points, especially when it ties into the actual ending. Now, again, no spoilers, but there is somewhat of a twist in this film within the third act that to me, I wish it was a little bit executed a little bit more. I wish it had more layers to it and it would have added a little bit more intrigue. Like one of the plot's conclusions was perfect in my opinion, but the other left me with more questions than a satisfying conclusion because it completely changes everything at a certain point in the film and it didn't really work for me, at least on the first viewing. Now, those are my main pros, those are my criticisms before I give you all my overall score and let you know if this film is worth checking out. I want to take the moment to thank you all for watching to this point of the review. If you haven't already, consider liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, as well as sharing today's video, but also consider subscribing to the channel. Overall, All of Us Strangers is a very open-hearted experience that plays as both a dream and a nightmare with some incredible performances. It's a very quiet and subtle film that dives into the complexities of human interactions, personal experience, self-reflection, and personal loneliness, which has emotional gravitas. Andrew Scott deserves Oscar recognition after giving such a vulnerable and powerful performance. Now, the concept and the ending leaves a lot to think about, both positively and negatively, but this is still an unusual yet beautiful film that undoubtedly will leave a lot of people completely devastated and broken emotionally after watching this. I'm going to give All of Us Strangers a 4 out of 5. Now, to be clear, I was initially came out of this film not completely convinced if I enjoyed it in its entirety, but this is the beauty of film watching, right? I allowed myself to think about this film like several days after watching it because it really stuck with me, and that's where I kind of came to the story because I really came to really appreciate the nuance, the performances, the story being told, the love story, the interactions with the parents, the performances were just so beautiful, so I've come to really appreciate it. Now, again, I'm excited to revisit this film because I want to go back now knowing the plot, knowing kind of the twist that it has, but also reevaluating that ending. So those are my thoughts. Again, a 4 out of 5. I recommend you all see this, whether it's in theaters, if it's available to you, or once it becomes available on streaming, because again, as I'm recording it, there's no official release date, but I believe right now it's slated to be somewhere kind of mid to late December in the US, and I believe it's coming out early next year in the UK. So definitely recommend checking it, whether it's in theaters or on VOD, because it is a really great film. So hey, that's my thoughts of the movie. Now it's your turn to let me know yours once you've seen it, both positive, negatives, thoughts on direction, the story, the performances, and what did you all think about that ending? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching today's review. You all are awesome. Hope you're staying safe, and I'll catch you all on the next video.